Welcome once again to the AccuColor webinar series, but this time we're live on Zoom. Today I'm thrilled to have my good friend Giancarlo Pawelec all the way from Toronto. Today's webinar is going to be editorial fashion workflow from vision to reality. We're going to take questions at the end of the webinar, but feel free to send some quick questions over and Giancarlo will do his best to get those answered. Giancarlo, I'll turn it over to you now. Thank you.
Crucial, and you guys didn't see it, but let's begin. I would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous people of the lands that we are on here today. Although while we meet here in a virtual sense or in a virtual platform, I would like to acknowledge the importance of the land that we are on and that we call home. All right, there you go. Now we're better. All right. Well, hello and welcome everyone again. Round two. My name is Giancarlo Pawelec, and I'm an editorial and commercial photographer based here in Toronto, Canada. I first want to start thanking BenQ, of course, for being so gracious as to give me this opportunity to present my work, a little bit about me, and also my workflow, as well as also a shout out to the team that's around me. You'll see them buzzing around, and for coming together and assembling for this. In particular, we'll be doing a live demo shoot. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box. Ali from BenQ is there. He'll try and field them as much as he can. If not, we'll try and do them as we go. There we go. Now we can begin. Well, whether it be a simple portrait session or a commercial job, I firmly believe that unbounded creativity is often the result of working closely with clients and collaboratively with your team. Now, let me give you a little background about me. We'll start off by simply calling it turning a passion into a career. There's a great quote by Katharine Hepburn, which says, if you have to support yourself, you had bloody well better find some way that is going to be interesting. And photography is definitely interesting. Many may not know this, but I began my self-taught career about 2 decades ago with automotive and motorsports, shooting editorials across North America before moving into portrait, fashion, and commercial work. Since then, my focus has shifted from editorial and print work over to commercial work for brands like Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Nissan, Toyota, and many others. My passion is still fueled by these incredible machines of power and finesse. However, artistically, I've become a little bit more concise with the output of the work that I do, hence commercial. Looking back at the years, I would have never imagined that I'd be here today. What started as a hobby quickly turned into a passion and gained traction into a career and a path in which I'm still on and I love to this day. Who would have thought that one day I'd be photographing a 575 horsepower Jaguar F-Type SVR in the posh area of Yorkville here in Toronto with a team of 10 and the confidence of a client having with the vision that I can deliver for this project. Take risks and persevere. A great American documentary photographer by the name of Paul Pawelec said, if photographs are strong, they will find their audience sooner or later. Later is not necessarily a bad thing. It leaves more time for making the photographs, which, after all, is everything. I won't be the first or the last person to say this. Keep shooting, regardless of what type of photography or photographer you are. The more you do, the more you hone your craft and your creative vision. Remember, nothing good has come from simple efforts. Thankfully, throughout the years, I've been able to hone my creative vision and my abilities. I would describe my style or my signature style as being edgy feeling with a use of vibrant colors. With each project I take on, be it paid or creative, I try to push forward, be it with lighting, the creative vision, or the workflow that I have. The images and workflow that I produce now far outweigh those of my early years, but only because of the risk that I took and continue to take, as should you. Keep learning and always evolve. Elliot Erwitz, who's a well-known American documentary photographer and advertising photographer, once said, "To me, photography is an art of observation. It's about finding something interesting in an ordinary place. I found it has little to do with the things you see and everything to do with the way you see them." Now, I saw this tweet a little while ago. It's been actually maybe about a year ago since I saw it, or a couple of years rather, July 18th, there we go, during the pandemic, unfortunately. But I thought it was pretty relevant to my belief as well as sort of the concept of this. And it says, "Artists, never try to guess what your audience wants. Your audience doesn't know what it wants until after they see it. Who knew they would want to see a large Pollock canvas splattered with dripping paint?" Now, for those that might not be aware of who Jackson Pollock was, he was a famous painter, and here's a prime example of his work. This work is referred to as number 5, produced in 1948. And as you can see underneath, it sold at Sotheby's for $140 million. So to each their own. Believe in what you do, and others eventually will believe in what you do and what you provide. Now, growing as a photographic artist, you always have to keep learning and keep pushing. Now, for me, in the past few years, I've recently fallen back in love with black and white or monochromatic work, in particular shot natural light or strobe, whether it be here in the studio or outside on location. To some, black and white is the most raw form of photography, other than shooting film, of course, as it removes any influence or bias in the way of color. Now, with each and every photo shoot that I do, even sometimes commercial, I try and incorporate black and white into a session, so that way I can continue to evolve my craft. Workflow. This is what everyone wants to know. So what is workflow? Well, simply put, workflow is one's process from start to finish, or for us photographers, from creating or having a creative vision to the actual final output. And each workflow obviously differs on what you shoot. Here's an example of workflow and taking something from a vision to a reality. In this case, for example, we have the inspiration. This is a few years ago with a video game called Cyberpunk that came out. So the inspiration was a video game. The concept was to do something in this dystopian, especially during the pandemic, COVID sort of times. That then leads on to the mood board itself, the call sheet, the team setup, the actual gear setup, and then ultimately coming down to the day of the photo shoot, turning something into literally a vision into reality, and then the post-processing that follows, as well as the results. So here's a simple example to get an idea as to how something can go from being an inspiration to sort of the end result. But we're going to dive into it in real time during the live demo, so hang tight. The process. So this is very, very key, especially in terms of the workflow of a photo shoot. So the process consists of inspiration, your concept, a mood board, a call sheet, the team that you have to assemble to get the job done, the gear setup, the shoot itself, the post-processing or the editing, and then the result. Let's dive deeper. So the inspiration. So for this particular live demo that we're going to do, we're going to be doing the inspiration. I called it as a 90s fashion, 90s music, 90s summer. Those you might not remember, the 90s were amazing. I'm kind of dating myself here, but I thought that was sort of a great inspiration point to take off. The 90s are sort of in again, and there's a lot of play that you can do with in terms of the fashion. So for this, I was like, okay, well, what can we do? I discussed it with my assistant Martin. He's like, hey, listen, there's all these options that we can do. Who we bring on board, which leads us to the next point, the concept. So we know that the inspiration is 90s fashion. Not a problem. We obviously know we need a model or a bunch of models. That's sort of easy to do. We know we need a camera. We need strobes, potentially a shooting location. That's also great. but now the concept, how do we get it a little bit closer to reality? Well, I guess I'll introduce someone. They're working here in the background. I don't know if you can see, but come this way, ladies, by all means. I'll do a quick little intro of the concept. So we have hair and makeup artist. There's the camera there. Hair and makeup artist Brooke Bellevaux here. We have Feliska, who's our wonderful model, and we have Milena from Fair du Nord, who's our stylist today. So Milena brought a bunch of pieces, and as you can see there in the slides, obviously you shouldn't bring those pieces, but there seems to be a bit of a structured. Would you call it structured?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of detailing.
A lot of detail, a lot of structure and everything else. But if you can tell, the colors aren't really punchy or bold or anything. But I knew that concept-wise, especially using clothing like this is something as a starting off point. It also has a bit of a Canadian vibe. Check them out. They are Canadian. You're based in Oshawa, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, based in Oshawa. And obviously, I think contrasting the clean lines, the design of that, especially with 90s, we can then give Brooke, if you will, a clean slate to go as crazy and as magical as you want. It's kind of tough to do it for makeup artists. You kind of don't put the brushes down, but in this case, she can go wild. So that gives you an idea in terms of the concept for this particular shoot. But go ahead, don't worry. I don't want to keep you. They're setting up, getting everything ready, figuring out what works and what doesn't. So the mood board is the next most crucial part. So the images, or mood board essentially is a bunch of images that are put together to outline a specific theme or the concept for the shoot and how it will be achieved by all parties. Now, having said that, I mentioned, for example, we have Milena, who's the stylist. We have Brooke, who's the makeup artist. Even Feliska is a model, but she does some styling and she also knows what works and what doesn't work. In turn, I also have Martin here. And so we'll figure out the lighting. And then we have Martin. By all means, come in, Martin. There's Martin, everyone, from Backdrop Gallery. Check them out. They do beautiful hand-pasted canvas backdrops. We'll be shooting on them as well today. Thank you, Martin. And so you'll see them there. And so part of that, Martin has to figure out from the set side of things what works with what he has to offer. Martin has to figure out what works with what he has to offer. Same with Brooke, same with everyone else. So by putting a mood board together, everyone is on the same page as to what the look, what the feel, what the vibe is. The more pieces you put into the mood board, and again, it can be words, but usually being visual, of course, having photos is key. That makes life a lot easier. Next is the call sheet. Now, the crucial part of the call sheet, of course, there we go, is the call sheet is essentially a piece of paper that essentially details everything pertaining to the photo shoot. Everything from contact information, the shoot date, the call time, the crew call time, the location, and as well as a shoot brief, essentially detailing how many sets we're doing, how many looks are we doing, what setup, are they all inside, are we doing some on location? And the last is obviously a notes section for additional information. So in this case, for example, the call sheet here, it stipulates that the call time is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Obviously, this is the webinar. The crew call time is at 5 p.m., so an hour before the webinar, so they can prepare. The location, obviously, at the studio. Everyone's contact details, everyone's social handles, which is crucial. And then obviously the brief, it says, set 1, 90s street fashion vibe in color. So again, everyone is on the same page, and we also know what to expect and what to do. Next part, team. So with a team, assembling a team, now it can be a simple thing as yourself and a subject, or yourself and an assistant, or a makeup stylist, a set designer, anyone and everything you want. The key being is, who are the best people to execute this concept? And that's something you always have to have in the back of your head. Now, choosing the ideal people is challenging at times. Not only is it entirely based on also skill set, but it's also in terms of how you all get along. That to me is a big thing, because I'm all about sort of vibes, if you will. So if everyone gels and there's a synergy, then the end result and the process is far better overall. I put there quality over quantity, and that to me is crucial. The reason I say that is, for example, as a photographer, I rely on, in this case, for example, Brooke, to do the hair makeup as she should. Now, the reason I say this is I'm not a makeup artist. I have no idea what I'd be doing. I think Felicia would slap me if I did her makeup. Yeah, she's looking at me. She's going to. But that's why I rely on Brooke. And I know Brooke comes, not only is she a good person and everything else, but her quality work is phenomenal. So I can now leave and not have to worry about that segment of the shoot. The next is the technical ability or the creative vision. For argument's sake, let's talk, we'll talk to the stylist, for example. If the stylist says, listen, I don't dig the 90s. The 90s were a terrible period for me. I only do 2000s and up. And she's entitled to have that opinion, right? It could be her style, but then she's not the right person for this job, right? Or in turn, she might say, hey, I like what you're doing, GC, but you know what? We can zhuzh it up, or you're thinking too much in the box. Like there's an element that she would bring as a stylist that I could never bring. And then lastly, of course, is the synergy of crew above all else. It doesn't matter who you are, what your experience is, how many followers you have. None of that matters when it comes to shoots. It really comes down to how you all gel, how you all work together. Because I think to me, ultimately, working collaboratively gets a much better result in the end. And I have a certain vision, and then Martin, my assistant, will have a certain other vision, and then Brooke, the makeup artist, will have another vision. And little by little, we tweak until we get to something we like. And then that, to me, is when the magic happens. Next, gear and setup. Quite crucial, of course, especially if you want to do photography. What gear are you using and what do you need to bring? Now, in this case, I'm blessed, obviously, having a studio that everything is here. But things like that obviously do matter, and you have to take into account for it. We can even ask Martin after, but his mandate is for me to bring what, less gear, I guess Martin could say?
Yeah, you bring too much stuff.
I bring too much stuff. You heard it from him. So my key is to bring less gear. But having said that, you have to question, what is that you need? What camera you bring? What lens or lenses are you bringing? I just came back, for example, from Vancouver. Actually, I flew in at 3 this morning, and I brought 1 camera and 3 lenses, and I ended up using 1 lens and 1 camera. So it happens. What lighting options are you using? Are you using natural light? Are you using strobes? What modifiers are you using? And ultimately, why are you using them, right? There has to be a purpose and intention behind what you're doing and what you're bringing. Portability or power, that's important in terms of, are you more concerned about being portable or is having more power to get the job done needed? And by power, I mean in terms of the lighting power of the strobes. And the reason I say that's, for example, if Martin and I were out on the field, we probably, we probably would not bring this guy because this is very big and cumbersome. But in the studio, that's not an issue, right? So you have to outweigh things. And then ultimately, are you in studio or are you out on location? Because that also matters too. Next, the fun part, the actual photo shoot. So this is the best part of being a photographer, is getting things done in terms of the actual shoot. So the thing being, of course, is you can only get to this point once everything else is dialed in and ready. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you have, for example, hair and makeup. They need to get ready. They need to do their thing and have their time to do that. In turn, also, and you can ask Brooke after, I also think it's crucial that the hair and makeup team, for example, have their moment with a subject. Let them build a rapport. That to me is really, really key as well, right? Because there's information that I might not know. The said model might be allergic or whatever the case is. Making sure the styling is ready, right? Because if you notice, as we're discussing this and sharing this with you, the team itself is working, doing things behind the scenes to get to this point. So that way, once we come shoot time, we're ready to go. The next is lighting test completed. So that's doing a quick little test, making sure the lighting is good and everything's dialed in, because you don't want the subject waiting or the team. And then obviously, once everything is dialed in and ready, you begin the shoot. That's when the fun starts. Oh, I think Martin's doing the backdrop. I don't know if you can help him. So post-processing. So for post-processing, just to keep things very simple, that's essentially editing. So after you're done the shoot, you got to narrow things down. I tend to use a very simple system. So for step 1 is culling. So I mark 2 stars to keep an image, 3 stars if it's a very good image, 1 if it's behind the scenes. And if it's a blinky image or something bad, don't move on. Step 2 is selects. So based off the culling, your best of onlys, then go into the selects folder. Step 3 is the global adjustment that I tend to do, usually white balance, color balance in that sense, maybe minor exposure adjustments. Step 4 is precision editing in Photoshop. So that's to remove blemishes or wrinkles on clothes, liquefying things. And then last, of course, is color grading. And I do that in Capture One. And that is adding sort of the feel or the look. Are you going for a vintage vibe? Are you going a little more saturated, more poppy, something more desaturated, right? So that's usually the post-processing that I go through. The result, this is the fun part of doing a shoot, of course, is where will the images go? Are they going to a magazine submission? Are they going your socials, your portfolio? Are you printing them for fine art? Are they going to be in a gallery? All those things sort of matter in terms of the end result of the images, right? There's nothing worse than I think shooting something and not sharing it with the world. You might not think it's great. Trust me, I'm guilty of that. You can look at my social media. I'll be the first to tell you that. But share the work. That's the key. Especially after a creative, you want to share it. It's also a great way to help other collaborators come together. It's content for them, but in turn, you all put together. This is the fruits of your labor, if you will, right? So let the world see it. What photo gear do I use? Very simple. It depends on the job, but of course, I tend to ask myself a few questions. Am I shooting something fast-paced, like fashion, or something slower, like product? What matters to me more? Is it more resolution, or is it the output speed? Or is it discretion, right? If I'm shooting somewhere public, I don't really want a big clunky camera. Each and every one of these questions needs to be taken into consideration when you're planning the shoot, including the gear they're using. Now, having spent many, many years doing photo shoots and being in this industry, I will tell you the old adage of it's better to have and not need than need and not have is very, very true. Take my word for it. My go-to photo gear setup, which you'll see some of it behind me right here, is a Canon EOS R3 or the R5, usually a 24-105 or 70-200 lens. Today, we're going to be shooting with the Canon R3 and the 70-200, so a bit of a telephoto lens. I tend to use a Tether Tools USB-C cable that goes USB-C to USB-C, fed into Capture One, of course, my Broncolor strobes, of course, and then whether it be a 27-inch BenQ or in this case, a brand new 32-inch 4K BenQ monitor, which is absolutely amazing. And I'll get into it a little bit later. Software of choice. Now, there's debates as to what is better. There really isn't. It depends on what works for you. Like many of us, we all started usually with Adobe Lightroom, but as of a handful of years ago, I've switched to Capture One and will never go back. So this is Capture One to give you an idea as to what I tend to do and sort of my workflow and the selections of it. The simple RAW to JPEG conversion is my reason. Ultimately, why I love Capture One, as well as tethering is so much more efficient and easy. What display do I use? Now that matters because we focus so much on color accuracy or getting the eye sharp or all this sort of stuff. But what you view the image on matters just as much, if not more, especially when working with a team. So in this case, in my studio on my telecard, as you see behind me, I have the brand new BenQ PD3205UA. And the beautiful thing about it, ultimately, if you can see, is that it is fully articulating the screen, as well as also full rotation. So if I do want to go into a vertical, I can shoot vertically and see things. So it makes life so much easier. It's a phenomenal monitor. It's actually right now with the M1 MacBook Air. It's actually powering it because it's a USB-C cable that delivers 90 watts of power delivery. So one cable connects it, does everything in one shot. Easy to use, obviously horizontally or vertically. Amazing in the studio for me in that sense. And it has a KVM switch if we want to switch from PC to Mac or whatever the case is. So this is actually the PD3205UA. This is the monitor that you see there in different scenarios. On the technical side of it, being a photographer and doing commercial, of course, it's essential to have 99% of the sRGB coverage. 90% Rec 709. It is factory color calibrated, which is amazing. It is Kalman verified. It is Pantone verified as well and validated. So in terms of color accuracy, you simply don't get better than BenQ, hands down, which is why every monitor I have is essentially BenQ. My home setup, prime example, I have a PD 2700U, and that's for my everyday use. And then I have an SW271C, which is more photocentric, video-centric use. That's the one with the hood shade, as they call it. Doesn't matter what monitor you choose, whether it be $200 or $2 million, if you will. Having color accuracy is paramount. And that's something that BenQ at least guarantees that makes my life easier. One last thing for me to worry about. Lastly, before I sort of end this presentation, with this part of the presentation rather, I want to close out by simply saying that more heads are better than one, because turning a vision into reality happens when you work with everybody else. Every single part of a team, the hair, the makeup artist, the assistant, everyone has an input. And that, again, that input is what makes the end result what it is. Ultimately, whatever it is that you photograph, whether it be cars, whether it be models, whether it be headshots, whether it be babies, find your passion and follow it. I'll leave it with a favorite quote from Alfred Stieglitz, a favorite photographer of mine, old-time photographer, if you will. But he says, in photography, there's a reality so subtle that it becomes more real than reality. Now on to the fun part, the live demo. So before I get into the live demo, I'm going to introduce the team. If they're ready, they're all like drinking their coffees and everything. All right, so you guys ready? Let's introduce the team quickly. I'll start with Martin. Where are you hiding? Martin Tam. Come this way, Martin, so the peoples can see you. So this is Martin Tam, everyone. You can follow him on social, of course, at the Martin Tam. So he's my assistant. Love this guy to death. He's my right-hand man, my right-hand brain. Next, we have Brooke Bellevaux, makeup artist, stylist extraordinaire. She's phenomenal. Do follow her. Beauty by Brooke Bellevaux. Then we have the model next, Feliska Vician. Yes, Vician. So Feliska _model is her Instagram, and that is her. It's phenomenal. We have stylist extraordinaire from Frere du Nord, Milena. Is it Milena?
Milana, yeah.
Milana. There you go. So follow them as well. Canadian brand, they're phenomenal. And thank you for making it today. And then lastly on the team, we have set design, and we have Martin, who's in the background. So Backdrops Gallery, by all means, feel free to follow them. And you'll see, you'll see the backdrop sort of there. Yeah, I don't know which angles where, but by all means, so this is the team that were assembled to do this live demo. So anything's possible, but you'll see now a real sense as to how we all work together. And keep in mind, this is with the exception of Martin and Brooke, and obviously Feliska, who we've shot before. Both Milena and Martin are sort of new to the team in that sense. This is the first time we're all working together. So you get an idea as to how the vibe is and how the dynamic is of a shoot. Again, if you have any questions in the Q&A, put them in the chat box. I'll try and field the questions. If not, Ali can ask them. And we shall begin. All right. Yeah, raise it a little bit.
I don't want like heads in the way. Whoops.
Oh, we disconnected.
That's the issue, right?
What was that? Was it the power?
Yep.
Let's go. Let's see. We're back. All right. I think we're back. Let's see.
Plug it in.
Plug it in. Are we back?
We lost your webcam.
There we go. Now we're back.
There you are.
We're back.
Yeah, you're back. Thanks.
Yeah, we're back. All right. So, might have to raise it a little, but we'll see. Okay. So, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't know if anyone's had any questions, Ali, but if they do, just ask them away and I'll try and answer them. And hopefully you can hear me as well. All right. So, we have Martin over there. He's getting all the crusties out. And we are good here. All right. And then we got Feliska. I think everyone can see everything generally. Yeah. And Martin is going to be standing here. So, yeah. All right, so let's while we're sort of gearing all this up and get this started, let's bring you in from Fair to North. Do you want to bring some of the stuff? Actually, let's bring the roller so we get an idea of so to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we brought, or yes, you brought. Do you want to describe some of the things you brought and the colors and all that?
Always ask your models to bring their own favorite denim and their own shoes, unless you have a big budget. So I didn't know exactly what size Feliska was, so I made sure I brought in both extra small, small, and medium.
Okay.
And you said blues, purples. I happen to have a nice bright blue.
There we
and a
go.
lilac, and those are like happy spring colors anyways that are gonna
Perfect.
pop on a shoot, so that was pretty easy.
Awesome.
I made sure I brought some crop tops, some crew necks, in
Perfect.
2 different colors and sizes, and then I brought shorts. Sorry, I've been through this
Yeah,
stuff already.
that's
so
all right. No,
I
no worries,
took
no worries.
everything.
What's right?
Well, no, sorry, I was just making sure.
Oh, that was a question. Okay, sorry.
Anyways, so I brought different sizes and colors of shorts. I brought in a pair of pants, but we're gonna stick with Feliska's denim. And,
Okay.
we actually selected a couple looks that we want to run
Oh,
by you.
okay,
Yeah.
sure. All right, so this gives you a prime example. I'm here talking to you guys doing this whole webinar thing. Oh, you might have to pitch it down a little.
Push it down and-
Or just lower it a little, yeah. But then as I'm sort of doing this webinar, discussing things, they are figuring out everything else. So yeah, come in, don't be shy. I'm gonna push this a little bit further back. Don't be shy. Okay, so yes, I don't know if you want to explain things.
Okay, so we Feliska brought these really cute white shorts, which are really poppy and very casual. They are longer than the shorts because I brought these super short ones in and we
Okay.
compared them with the top. It just looked too beachy, and I like this, prefer this casual look.
Okay.
We threw on this hoodie, which is like our signature piece.
Okay.
What I like about it, it's gray. Her hair really stands out in it. It's really
It
bright.
pops,
and
yeah.
So does her makeup and her nice tan from Mexico. So I think she looks fantastic. And it's also a very structured hoodie.
Right.
Really like it's got heavy
Yeah.
layering and there's a lot of detail.
And that's what I do like. I do like that
It's
structure.
interesting to shoot.
Yeah.
There is one other look that we really like. And I think it's, yeah, this isn't the size. We went for an oversized,
Yep.
but this color,
Yeah.
which is like a very soft lilac, but almost gray, looked fantastic on her.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
it was size up.
Okay.
And it was like just really lovely. And again,
It worked?
the
Okay.
coloring really worked. And I think it'll look really good
With-
with that dark background.
Okay. And would you do that with denim?
I would do it with the same shorts.
the same
again,
shorts?
because
Okay.
They look amazing.
Okay, that works.
So both those two we thought. were-
okay, that works then.
I don't know which
um,
one you want to shoot first.
Well, we'll do that because you have that on, so that works then, and then we can switch it up if need be. If anyone has any questions, ask away. I don't know if there are any questions, but no, maybe.
Giancarlo, can you
Yes.
focus it any better? Is that
Okay, focus any better. Martin, can you focus any better?
Better?
Is it better?
to me? It doesn't look blurry, but we had a comment saying that it was out of
It
focus.
probably was. Put it on servo mode, maybe. Here. It's in the front, one of the front grip buttons.
Oh.
Yeah, one of those is servo mode. Okay, so we'll try. Yeah, if there's any issues there, let me know. There's some questions here that I see. Does GP use any app tools for managing shoots, i.e. Notion or PM tool? I don't know what PM tool is. I do use Notion overall for my workflow. I think it's phenomenal. What's the other one that photographers use? The one that with the
No.
Milanote. Milanote's the other one they use. Like, so Martin uses Milanote. I do use Notion. And that's a good way of keeping things tracked, of course. Keeping things tracked is key, especially when you're working with a team with multiple pieces, multiple things. So that's quite good. So thank you for that, Kelly. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. And then we'll get Brooke here. She's got a haircut too, so she looks really good. But Brooke, I think everyone can see you. Yeah, you're good. So what's your thoughts on the makeup? What'd you do here and what was your thought process?
pop of color.
Okay.
Spraying little lilac eye moments. Since the clothes are quite neutral, we kind of have a lot of room to play with makeup. But it's also something you can also build up on if you want to do a second, third, or fourth look.
Okay.
Normally, we would also, if it was just one look, do something a little more creative. Multiple looks, it's time to start something more basic, so you can work up with, so you don't have to like spend a lot of time taking stuff on and off, and
Right.
just work up from there.
So start base and then, okay, so don't do what I would do, which is go heavy, like go light and then build up.
And then for hair, we just like a nice like beachy wave. It's easier to do hair down first, then put it up later. So we use a lot of hairspray or gel. Trying to like curl hair on top of that is just a nightmare.
Yeah, wet hair look for the first one doesn't work,
Yeah,
so,
it's happened before and it's not fun
Right.
to try to fix. But yeah, so then we have a lot of options to go from here, and then we'll just touch it up throughout the shoot as well.
awesome. Well, thank you for that. I don't know if you want to step forward a little so that way people can actually see the makeup. I don't know if you guys can see the makeup. You might have to zoom in with the actual lens. There you go. And then, yeah, I don't know if you guys can see, if you can move your head left. Yeah, there you go. So purple on top, a little bit of is it blush? Blush. I don't know the term, blush or whatever. And a little sort of purple there. So that gives it a pop of color. So my sort of rule of thumb is if you're doing, for example, something neutral in terms of clothing, go a little lively on the makeup. Do not do a combination of both, because then it just starts getting very sloppy and you look like Mimi. So it's like if you do a bold lip, don't do bold eye. If you're doing a bold eye, don't do a bold lip. It's either one or the other, and less is always more. So I think that works. All right. Any other questions? Can the model hit autofocus? Someone's saying blurry. There's a,
Focus.
it's in focus. Yeah, it's in focus, folks. I don't know.
Giancarlo, there was a question with the model coming closer, but I think you guys timed it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Can the model come closer? Yeah. So the model can come closer, but you'll see it shooting in real life when I actually start doing it, so you'll get an idea as to what's happening. So that should be fairly easy to do. All right, so if everyone's ready, everyone's good to go, we will start shooting in 2 seconds. Again, if you have any questions before we start shooting, ask away and we'll try and sort of field the questions as we go. All right, you ready? All right, so Mara, let's start gearing up. Let's start putting this back. Oh, sorry. Put this here.
Backdrop from this side, do you want it to flow on the ground? How do you prefer? Do you want another drop on the floor?
We could do one on the floor.
Alright.
Yeah, we can do it. Okay. So there's a prime example of a question. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. So Martin from Backdrops Gallery is asking me, he says, hey, do you want anything for the floor or do we want to extend the canvas all the way down? And I don't mind that. As you can see, folks, we have 2 canvases that we're working with here. We have this gray one here, and then we have another one that's a little more green on that side. But I think having something on the floor actually might be good to sort of get away from the wood floor. Normally we tend to use, I don't know if you can see them up here, seamless rolls. They come in 9 foot or I think 4 foot, I think 12 foot. And that's the best option because you have a myriad of colors. But in this case, it's quite good because then you get a different texture. And the reason we went with a canvas backdrop for this is to give it a little more depth to it. Partially, again, because the clothing is sort of simple in terms of structure and in terms of color, then we're sort of compensating with something else, right? If she was wearing something crazy with wings and whatnot, you know, something Rick Owens style, then that wouldn't work, right? So that kind of works. We got good. So that's all good. Okay. Make sure we're tethered. Now, what I'm wondering is if I can share this, if I should share the screen. Yeah, let me see if I can share the screen.
Try capture.
Yeah, capture live. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can share my screen with you folks here. Actually, we might even be able to share it via with AirDrop. Yeah, just share on AirDrop that link. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah. capture one. Oh, hold on.
Oh, it's over there now.
Web, yeah, there we go, web,
Like full screen?
yeah, full screen. Yep, 1 second. That's not what I want. Okay, so. There should be a thing for live here. Hold on.
I'm trying to look for that.
All right, so that's fine. We can just start shooting then. Cloud
Here,
transit. There we go. That's what I wanted. Gosh. There we go. Share online collection. Yeah, it's fine. Capture folder, perfect. Share and manage access. There we go. Okay, airdrop, perfect. Oops, copy link. And then now this, I'm gonna go into airdrop. All right, now we're good. The MacBook Pro, I think it's MacBook Pro. All right. There we go. All right, so now I can share my screen and you guys should be good to see everything. There you go. You guys see that? Yeah? Can I get a yes? Thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, I'll like thumbs up. All right, so you'll see things in real time on the screen. So let me do a quick little test and make sure we are good. Oh, so there you go. You see up there? Okay, good. So we know that works. Everyone can see that. Thumbs up. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so if I do this and I shoot that, it'll pop up there. And then there you go. You guys should be able to see that as well. There you go. Obviously, that's a terrible blurry photo, so do not judge. All right, and let's go into settings. Go into F8, F9, 1/60th, ISO 100. Lock that. All right, let's begin shortly now. Now, normally I play music when I shoot, but obviously this doesn't make sense because for obvious reasons. But let me do a quick little test to make sure we are good here. All right, 1 sec, please go. We're way under. What is this at? Huh? All right, hold on. But test, make sure we're good. There you go. That's a bit better. Now, I don't know if anyone can see that. Is it not popping up? There we go. Everyone see that? Yes? I think so. I have no audio, so I'm hoping everyone can see that. But it's not bad. The only thing is, can you zoom in on the eyes? Yeah.
That's fine.
Yes, we have couch heads in the eyes. It looks good. The makeup looks good. And do we have any rim or is the rim off?
It's on.
Yeah, could you, just throw it up a little? Okay. I'll go down to. Okay. Do one test. Oh, sorry. That was a misfire. Here we go. All right, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. It's not bad.
Full power.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up. Yeah, turn that up. Do one stop. So we're going a little dark here. Is everyone still following? I think so.
Yeah, we're still there.
Okay, good. All right. If you guys, I can't see questions now, so if you have questions, ask away. And is this the last? Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah. So you guys should be able to see that. Let's go a little tighter. Yeah, now we're clipping. So let's go down. All right, we should be good. Let's have a stop. So if anyone's wondering what that red is, if you see that there. So the red here, which you might not see here on screen, but you might see it here flashing. That essentially means it's a highlight warning telling me that there's no data or there's information lacking in there. Now, what you don't want is, I mean, if it's on the clothing, you don't want that because you obviously want texture there. I'm more concerned about it being on the face because that's when you lose skin texture. But that's easily recoverable. And if you just take the exposure warning off on the right, yeah. So just by taking the warning off, it just tells us that, hey, it's what's happening, but it's a good way to know, right? Because the last thing you want is to be shooting and then you get home or you start uploading the photos and then like everything's blown out and because everything looks great in the back of a camera. There's no denying that, right? It's different when you see it on actual monitor and you're actually working on it. All right, so let's begin. You ready, darling? All right, so for this, again, normally we have music and stuff, but feel free to sort of play around with it and you can go a little wild and crazy, right? Because you can mess the hair up a little bit. Brooke might yell at me, but we'll figure it out. All right, you ready? Good. And just think sort of 90s, yes. Start working some angles in there. Good. I like that hair. The hair is really good. It's very like Farrah Fawcett. I dig it. Good, good, good. Good. Play with it. Yeah, play with the hoodie. And then, yeah, and then turn a little bit away, turn a little bit towards me. So, yeah, just mess with it a little bit. Good. Good. I'd say even play with the strings if you wanted as well. Yeah. And then just give me a little sassy laughter, little Britney Spears goodness. Yeah, say Britney Spears. That's right. All right. So as you get an idea, we're getting sort of a little bit of a variety here and we're sort of warming up, right? So the key being obviously with any shoot is you have your test out of the way, then you do your essential warm-up shot, you get what you want. And part of this is a time for more than anything, sort of what I call sort of like reflection, right? And you'll see what's happening because you end up getting, for example, like a stylist that wants to get an idea and starts looking, right? And then you have, for example, the makeup artist that starts looking. So everyone starts looking at the monitor, right? Again, another advantage. Thank you for the 32-inch, but in having 32 inches in this case makes sense. And keep in mind, we had a 27-inch monitor before, which is amazing too, but having this real estate makes sense because now, for example, you're working collaboratively with a team. Everyone can now see. They're not staring at a tiny little screen that Martin then gets jealous because everyone's hunkered over them. So now that we got sort of the basics of this done, we can now start sort of going a little poppy. Yeah, we're good actually. I'm gonna go a little bit tighter on you as a crop too. Just go a little tighter on her. But if you have any questions, I can't see, but ask away, folks. All right, so I'm gonna go a little bit tighter on her. Good. Nice, nice. Good. And then give me some facing the window and just super attitudey. A little bit of laughter. Think 90s, think you're happy. Think you're happy. I don't know. Be happy. There you go. That's cute. I like that. Oh, that's good. Working. Beautiful, beautiful. Good. Yeah, that looks good. All right. So one thing to note, of course, I don't know if there's anything you want to adjust or see, Brooke, but I'm just going through some of these images here that you guys can see with me at the same time. So overall, I mean, it looks good, right? But we want something a little bit more dynamic, right? We're feeling a little too stiff, and I'm feeling a little bit stiff too, and that's fine. So now we should go sort of to the next level and figure out what we need to do. Oh, you're going vertical? Look at that. Yeah, no, full size there. See, that makes it so much easier, right? So again, RVS can see that over there. But where is it? Over there. There you go. But Mara turned the Mara vertically, and that makes it so much easier to now actually see things in a much bigger sense, right? So now you get an idea of, like, from this point of view, you can get an idea of the actual lighting, the rim lighting, and everything else, right? The stylist is happy, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, she's happy, so we're good. And then Martin is happy as well. And then Brooke, you did a little touch up and stuff. Is there anything you want to add to it, or your thoughts? What were you touching up? Just come in front of the camera. Don't be shy. What were you touching up? I'm just curious to know.
I was fixing the flyaways.
Ah.
Because they're hard to edit.
Okay, so the flyaways are the little baby hairs, I guess you could say, that tend to be on there. And that makes it so much easier. And again, part of this is relying, I mean, ultimately I'll edit that out, right? But the key being is that Brooke, in this case, saved me 5 or 10 minutes of having to do the little monotonous work, right? By seeing it. And that again is her level, her eye of expectation as to what she wants, right? So thank you, Brooke.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a few more and let's mess with that a little. Yeah, and just give me a little attitude. There you go. Good. I like that. Yeah, don't throw too much attitude. Too much. Now you're getting mad. You know what I mean? No madness. Good. Love. I'm gonna go a little tight on you. Good. Play with the hair a little. Just hands in the hair. Hands in the hair. Just wave like you just don't care. Love that. There we go. Now we're talking. Good. Good. All right. So we're good here. Let's go into another look just to sort of change it up. So I'm just going to go back into this so you get an idea of what is happening. Where are we? Here we go. So we're going really tight. All right. She started playing with the hair and that's hands. We're trying to get sort of angles happening. So in this case, for example, furrowing too much, right? And you want attitude, but you don't want furrowing of the brows because then that's seen as aggression, right? So you want something sort of in between. But this works. So now they're discussing the next outfits that they're going to do. Oh, what were you looking for? The shirt. Shirt. What shirt are we missing? We're missing a shirt somehow. Check the change room, I guess, if it's there. Does anyone have any questions on the process for Martin or the team or Brooke or anyone? Feel free to ask. Put this here.
Get a couple shots with.
Come in front of cameras. That way people can talk to you. So
I'd
yes.
love to get a couple shots with those white shorts. 'Cause I
Okay.
think they look fantastic, the contrast.
Okay.
With the.
With
lilac.
the new top, yeah,
Yeah,
lilac.
so just
Okay.
take like just a couple
I
to
got
make me
you.
happy, and then we can put on the denim.
So I gotta make the stylist happy. No, but that's good though. It's true. Actually, yeah. So this is the look.
We have match it tops, like it just looks great.
So I don't know if you guys can see. I know we're looking at a tiny little screen here. But I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can make this bigger. So in this case, this is sort of like a lilac color. And then again, with sort of the white torn denim shorts. And so that combination works. The makeup looks good in that sense. We'll get her into some longer denim, of course, but that's a great look. And obviously the style is like, hey, I need a couple shots of that looks. That's easy to check off. All right. So can I get some quick shots of her? Is that okay? Cool. Jump on, Brooke. I don't know if you want to have any last looks. Any questions, folks, about workflow or working with the team or getting the vision done? I can't see anything.
No questions yet.
No questions yet? Okay, no worries. Any questions about the BenQ monitor, which I love? That's great because doing this, like, I mean, so for example, the other BenQ monitor, the 20 PD 2700U, I think it is. It's a great monitor. Actually, I have this here. It's actually what's allowing me to stream. But rotating vertically is possible, but sometimes you'll sort of clip, right? Now, in this case, because it actually has a stand, I don't know if we can see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but because it's an articulating stand, it makes it so much easier to do that, to raise it, lower it, or then angle this whatever way you want, right? And that makes life a lot easier. In this case, you're shooting sort of portraits or verticals. There's nothing easier than being able to actually see this, right? So, I don't know if you guys can see.
Giancarlo, we
Yes.
had one comment from James Gordon. He said, when he gets a new Mac Mini, he's thinking of getting the 32-inch BenQ.
That's great. And to give you an idea, like even the every Mac Mini is amazing, or any of the M1s or M2s now are phenomenal. So what's powering, for example, I'm doing this with a MacBook Pro, but an i9 Intel MacBook Pro, and this big boy 4K is a little M1 MacBook Air. I mean, this thing doesn't even have fans, and and it's faster, and that's the base model, and that can power that and do everything one shot. And to give you an idea, like, it's also, if you notice with the setup, one cable for the tether cable is going to the camera, and that's going to capture one. The other cable is a USB-C cable going to the monitor that is not only, powering the actual MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air, but it's also creating the actual feed, if you will, for the actual file. So one cable does it all.
There's also USB ports on the side of the monitor.
Yeah.
You don't have to plug it into the MacBook.
Yeah.
You can just plug it into the monitor and it'll pass it through to the MacBook.
So there you go.
Couple
Endless
of more
possible-
questions came in.
Yeah, go ahead.
So David's asking, why the two-piece backdrop with the horizon line? Or is that a Photoshop task for later?
You mean at the bottom of the horizon line?
Right.
Okay, so the reason we actually have, I don't know if you can see it, you might have to zoom in, Martin. But so we have one backdrop here, we have another one here on the floor, and then we have another one on the side. Now, ultimately, I'd ask sort of for 2 of them or 3 of them to bring out, and I want something sort of neutral colored. But the advantage of having 2 of them on the side is now, obviously this is for the webinar reason, I'm shooting it directly straight on. In a normal shoot, which actually might happen in the second set, is I will then start floating around and shooting at different angles, right? So now if I'm shooting this angle, now I have her on the green, right? So it gives it a little more versatility. Having the background on the floor, if you will, is partially because we didn't want the wood floor. So Marian asked me and said, hey, do you want something on the floor? Do you want the wood, or do you want to extend the top one down? In this case, we're not extending the top down. We're just putting one on the floor in that sense. And like you said, in Photoshop, that's easy to sort of clone out and do that. That's not an issue. As we're talking, I can see the stylist talking to Brooke here, asking for a little accessory because you can never have enough accessories. But then, yeah, no, but that's, why not, right? I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, if we're talking film days, maybe a little different, right? It's a little more calculated every time you hit a shutter. But in this case, like, I mean, even if I'm not even looking and I like Austin power this and do that, and not even look where I'm shooting, it's probably gonna be a horrible shot. So I apologize. It is. It's a horrible shot. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, if we don't like the shot, we just delete it, right? That's the beauty of digital. But there's a lot that you can do in that sense. And accessories are great. Stylists will always add a little extra accessories, and it just zhuzhes it up, right? It makes it different. So we are good to go. You ready? All right. So ask again if you have any questions, folks. Now we have a little accessory. I like this look. I actually like this look better overall. The vibe is different. Well, I think she likes this too. I don't know why, but you can tell. And the good thing about accessories is it gives the model something to do, right? I like that. That's good. Let's see. You guys seen this? Yeah, there you go. I'll make sure you guys are seeing this in real time. Okay, let's go this way. Good, I like that. Oh, I like that. Good. Good. And then give me some facing that way and doing a little bit of a walk, knocking the other side. Beautiful. And brush the hair on that side. Thank you. All right. Give me a couple walks forward. Yeah. A little bit of a smile, look forward. There you go. Just think you're in Milan. You're not in Toronto. You're in Milan. You're enjoying the sun. And go, yeah, a little walk. Yeah, beautiful. That's great. Now let's let's throw in some arms in there. Let's get some height. Now we start making it a little more fashiony. Good. Now let me go a little tighter on you now, just going above the knees. Good, good, good. Beautiful. That's great. Oh, that's good. Let's have you facing this face. I'm gonna go really tight so I get a little bit more of the makeup on. Right there. That's pretty. That's good. Now, when you're shooting, I always recommend try and shoot wider instead of narrower or tighter in. And it's very simple because you can always crop in if need be, right? Yeah, if you can show that, you can go through it if you can. And the reason being is that if you go in tight from the get-go, there's no going back, right? But I tend to go sort of full length, then I'll sort of go above the knee type of thing, then I'll go a little bit tighter. And in this case, for example, the shots are also versatile, not just for the use case of mag submission or whatever the case is, but it's also the use case of, for example, the stylist, she particularly said, hey, I want 2 particular shots in this. So one shot might be full length, one might be tighter. But then in terms here, makeup artist, Brooke here, might want some shots of just the makeup itself or more of a tight headshot. So in this case, it just gives sort of that versatility, right? There is no room for error. So you're better off to go wider and then go tighter as opposed to tighter than wider. You ready to rock and roll? Let's do a few more. If you guys have any questions, ask. I know I saw a few of them here.
Yeah, Giancarlo, here's one from Rubini.
Yeah.
Do you use your BenQ screen outside ever on shoots? How do you deal with the glare?
Yeah, good question. I haven't yet. I'm very tempted to actually use the PD 2700 here because that's the thing I gotta say about the BenQ is they have this handle design on the back, which is amazing. And I haven't yet. Now, the reason is not so much as to, I mean, truthfully, I would. And if it was up to me, I'd take the 34-inch or the 32-inch rather. The issue is also more the fact of the portability of it. And then when you're out on location, whether it be lighting, whether it be camera equipment, whatever the case is, unfortunately, sometimes things can go sideways. Whether it be, yeah, as Brooke is laughing, right? But whether it be like, unfortunately, like some people have very sticky fingers, and sometimes, you know, equipment can go missing or stolen. God forbid you have damaged things. I mean, we did, for example, Mario and I did a shoot a few months ago. It was outdoors and it was super windy. It was mega windy. We had 2 big octa boxes, big octa banks, like 150 centimeters, so 1.5 meters big. And the wind was so massive that even though people are standing there holding them, it's still sort of, they're like sails, right? Like the wind sails. So yes, do I want to take BenQ on location? Absolutely. Have I yet? No. Maybe if it's a bigger crew in that sense, then absolutely, because I'd rather have a much bigger display that is color calibrated, that I trust a lot more than, let's say, a Mac monitor. Not to knock Mac monitors or MacBook Pros in general, but nothing beats having a much bigger screen to see, especially when you're working with a big team, right? I mean, here's a prime use case scenario, right? Martin, come in. Milena, come in. Martin, come in. Brooke, come in. So prime example, 4 people in the team and myself, and everybody here can see every detail, I think, perfectly.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Right? So that's a prime example. I mean, if I could have a 50-inch monitor here, sure, but that might be kind of overkill. But that's sort of a prime example as to why having a bigger monitor, as opposed to everyone trying to huddle over this tiny little thing and seeing Feliska's little tiny eyeball. Not that you have small eyeballs, you have big eyeballs, but I'm just normal eyeballs. But anyways, but that's what I mean. You have normal eyeballs. They're pretty eyeballs. Anyways, so I hope that answers that question. Oh, the glare. Yes. Good point. Yeah. So how do I manage glare on location? The SW line for BenQ comes with a hood. So like the SW271C, I believe it is, has an actual hood. So it's actually a part that comes on top, clicks on, and it's plastic. And that is to prevent or mitigate glare. Now, it's never 100% perfect in general, but BenQ also does a really good case. And here's a prime example. This is my studio south facing. This is all windows over here. So if you want to talk about glare being a killer, it was a killer. When I moved into the studio 8 years ago, I was using an Apple Thunderbolt monitor, which great for color, terrible for glare because Apple monitors just have this. It's this beautiful glass. It looks great in a dark room, but not in a real use case scenario. So the fact that they have this, I guess, anti-reflective, I guess, coating, if you will, or protector on it, is amazing. Because prime example, I mean, that's south-facing, and Martin's standing there, and I'm sure you can see perfectly, and that's literally a window facing there. So, shout out to BenQ because you've done a good job with that. It makes life easier, right? Because dealing with reflections is annoying. All right, you ready, Felicia? All right, let's do another string of 10 or so. Feel free to ask more questions, folks. Do not be shy. All right. Start again. Good. I don't know if you want to turn the modeling light on, or is that
That
one?
was busted.
That one's busted. Yes. Yeah. Do you want? Do you want? Okay. Well, we're gonna do another. Let me take 5 more shots, and then yeah. So there you go. Hold on. Say it loud to the world. Say it proud.
Because I can see the shots are already great, as like from a brand perspective, I'm super happy we can move on to more,
Okay.
get more shots in. We don't need to overshoot one look.
Perfect. So, and that's a prime example. Not only working collaboratively, but also like the benefits of tethering, having a big display is prime example, right? A client or a stylist in this case says, "Hey, listen, I think we're good. I mean, we could do another 10 frames, another 10 shots, but there's no need. I think we have something dialed in, right?" So again, that's another benefit because now I'm not spending another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, right? And it's one thing if you're doing one look, but you start doing a lookbook or 10 looks or whatever. I mean, it's a long, crazy day, right? So let me do a couple more shots and then we'll move on to a third look. Look at that. You're getting 3 looks for the price of 1, everyone. Stand a little that way, just to the right. Perfect. And give me a little more energy in that sense. Think sort of Britney Spears, happy. Where's that gorgeous smile right there? There you go, Felicia. I love that. Beautiful. That's great. You have this like Britney vibe. I don't know why. I mean, it's the blonde hair. The blonde hair and like the white teeth. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. All right, here we go. I like that. That's cute. Love, 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 love. That's pretty. Good. All right, we're good because I know I'm going to shoot another 30 more. So we're good. All right, so offset. How was that? How was your experience?
My experience so far has been 10 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What-
like always.
What's your take in terms of like working with a team, for example, like makeup artists? Like what do you like about working with a makeup artist, or what is there something that sort of stands out for me in general, or?
Personally, I love the creativity. I think it's really cool to have somebody else, look at you and then picture you in a different way and then make it happen. And then that also inspires me as the model to kind of bring that type of energy to set, like in front of the pictures, in
Right.
front of the photographer. So for me, I think the best part is creativity and just everybody's ideas coming together.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And like I said, I mean, everyone, yes, I might be shooting for so many years, or she might be modeling for so long, whatever. Yes, by all means. But really, it's having everyone sort of input come in. I mean, like I was going to shoot this, for example, on the wood naked floors. Martin said, "Hey, do you want to put one down on the ground?" Sure, but it makes a difference because in this case, that actually looks good. It looks like it looked a lot better than if it was wood. I'll tell you that much. So thank you, Martin. But it's stuff like that. It's the little details that really, when you start putting them all together, really the end result is phenomenal. Anything want to add?
Martin's brought up that there's a shadow in the background, so I don't know if you want to add another light to remove that.
Yeah, it's a webinar, so
Yeah.
we're kind of losing the texture on
the background,
left
of
side
course.
because we have a shift of a light.
So let's
stronger.
throw one. We have the other one there. Yeah, let's fire in. So those prime examples. So Martin, with the set designing, looking at the background on the canvas, we're losing some of the texture. And now keep in mind, with canvas backgrounds, correction, with backdrops, galleries, canvas backgrounds, these are handmade, hand painted. So the texture that you see is not some machine printed thing. It's legit hand rolling, hand texturing. So in this case, he was talking about, for example, the lighting is clean, good on this side. However, because there's a bit of a shadow, we're losing the texture and the depth of the actual background on that side. Again, his input, but I was like, hey, why not? We're also doing a different look, a different set. Why not change the lighting up, right? Because all we're doing is building on these things. But that's a great suggestion, Martin. Thank you. Any more questions? And I don't know if you want to do anything makeup wise, if you want to add anything or whatever the case is. I'm not a makeup artist, so don't know. You think we're good? All right. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. We're a little bit over on time.
One other question that came through. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate more about how you have the monitor hooked up to the MacBook and how there's no lag when you shoot a photo and it appears instantly on the BenQ and also on the MacBook?
Yeah, so there's twofold. So tethering essentially is the ability of connecting a camera with a cord into a computer. Now, what computer you choose, what camera, what cord, it's up to you. In this case, it's R3 USB-C into this MacBook M1 MacBook Air. Martin, my assistant, was mentioning, for example, that because this monitor has USB-C, you can actually directly plug it into the monitor. So this essentially bypasses the MacBook Air, and the MacBook Air in turn is connected to the monitor. That's how it's getting its picture, but it's also being powered by this. So the monitor is, which is obviously drawing power, is powering the MacBook Air, and then also taking in the connection from the camera directly. So it's sort of an all-in-one sort of encompassing thing. I don't know if there's anything you want to add in terms of that, or
The lag is just the speed of the computer. With the i9, we're having
come here. Don't be shy. Talk. The camera's the mic is here. So
for the lag, we're having issues with the i9 MacBook Pro. We were having to wait a significant amount of time for the images to show up. But with the new M1, M2s, they just pop up instantly.
Yeah.
That's kind of just the computer
Yeah.
issue.
yeah, that's more of a technology and thing, which is why we're running the Zoom through the MacBook Pro, but the i9, and then we're using the M1 for the actual tethering part itself. But yeah, I mean, the more megapixels you start pushing, the more things you start coming into sort of the roadblocks, if you will, the limitations of technology. But in this case, this tiny little base model M1 MacBook Air is able to push the pixels to 4K perfectly. And then knowing obviously that the actual monitor is color calibrated, validated from the factory, makes my life easy. Oh, we got a model on set. Oh, hey, look at you. So that's you too. Look at that. Is it weird looking at yourself? I'm curious. No? You're used to, all right. You're a pro. All right. So this is now the third look that we're doing. Do you want to describe the third look? Let's.
Well, we have time and we're feeling energetic. We weren't planning a third look, but we're like, let's shoot the blue. And let's give you a break from those white shorts.
There you go. There you go. So we got a break from white shorts. No, but actually, but I like the look, right? And even like the blonde hair and your complexion, you have this olive skin, like it works. It's cool. All right.
And that backdrop is amazing.
It's gorgeous, eh? It really makes a difference. All right, so let's get you started. I'm gonna do one quick test. And again, if you have any questions, guys and girls, feel free to punch them in. And the questions don't have to be to me, it could be to anyone in the team by all means. So ask anyone and everyone. Sure, we're good.
You came with that shadow. You're also clipping on here.
Yeah, so I'm clipping on her. All right, so to give you an idea, yeah, if you fix that shadow lighting. So to give you an idea, Mara was just explaining to me that we're still sort of getting a little bit of a shadow. So we're gonna try and fill that shadow in with another strobe there. But in turn, I was mentioning earlier about the clipping. Now the clipping is essentially telling me that there's data missing in the file. Now in this case, what you're seeing now on the screen is it without the warning, but the warning is here. Now keep in mind, this isn't that drastic, so it's salvageable. So I'm not too worried, but it's something to keep in mind, of course, when shooting. Especially if you're shooting clothes or people, right? You don't want to be blowing things out. All right. I think we should be good. Let me do one more test to make sure we are dialed in. Yeah, pitch it more. And bring like a foot in even if you want. Yeah, let me do a quick test again. It's probably spilling on her. There you go, that's better.
Clipping a lot.
No. Yeah, there's data there. Okay. All right, you ready for this? So we can go as zhuzhy as you want. Make sure there's no questions. Okay, no questions. Feel free to ask if anyone has anything. Good. Work it, work it. Good. Give me the hand in the waist. Love that. Love, 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 love. Good. And then give me some movement, some walking movement. Yeah, I know. Good. So the reason I also have people walking in shots is ultimately, especially when you deal with fashion things, you kind of want something a little more dynamic. Otherwise, it's too still. Being still kind of reminds me of like e-commerce stuff, which is kind of boring. E-commerce usually show on white background, but it's usually like it's pretty boring stuff. I hate to say it, but it is. So at least especially with fashion stuff, you want some movement. That's the idea. The hard part with that, for example, is the fact that now she has to worry about her body, her pose, her face, her eyes, and everything. So there's more elements to worry about. And part of this sort of trial and error, right? You do 4 or 5 walks and you get the one shot that you need. So you ready? Just a few more and go. Good. Go again and go. Good. Give me a little laughter, a little ha ha, a little Joe, yeah, a little Joe Fresh, a little happy. There you go. Think summertime, high school's over. She's over high school, but I'm just saying, like high school's over. There you go. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's great. Sassy. That's great. Good. And then I'm gonna go a little bit tighter on you. I want you to sort of play with the hood. Just kind of flirty. Think. There you go. Right there. Think 17 magazine. You know what I mean? So cover, pretty, cute. Love, 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 love. Yes. That's pretty. That's good, good, good. Little laughter, there you go. Who likes pasta? I'm kidding. I don't know why I said who likes pasta, but someone likes pasta. All right, we have a question. How often do you use the monitor to show them all images during shoot? Like to provide feedback, or do you mostly just guide them with words posing? Very, very good question, Ravini. Thank you. So how often do I use the monitor to show the model? All the time, actually. And not just the model, I also tend to show the team, but the model is key because now I've worked with Felicia before, so she understands sort of my expectation to the posing side of things. But it's a good question because there's things that she might not know that I can see, right? So for example, sometimes models do, for example, give me an arm forward, right? So for example, if she gives me an arm forward and I was doing this, just straight forward, right? She's trying to psych me out, you see that? So to give you an idea, she gives you an arm forward. She might say, okay, this looks cool. Realistically, I hate to say this, but it looks like she's amputated. She's got no arm, right? So, but she doesn't know that because to her, this might look normal. But when it comes to photography, right, you want 3-dimensionality, right? And you create that using light, right? Where there's light, there's shadow. So in this case, she might not see it. So might say, okay, Felicia, come off set. And so she comes off set because she knows I'm gonna like badger her. And I'd be like, you can't do this and blah, blah, blah. But then she gets an idea as to what I mean, right? But then I could, for example, in turn, encourage her and be like, oh, I loved how you were doing this. Like, this is sort of happy and poppy and bright, right? So it's a good way sort of to reference and check, but then also in terms to give that feedback. So how often do I do it? All the time. But I usually tend to do it after the set is done, or I put the camera down and address an issue. And the reason I do that is sometimes what ends up happening is if you have a tethered character, in this case, a monitor, and it's here, for example, and then the subject can start seeing it, what ends up happening? Then the attention goes away from me to what they're doing on the monitor. So in this case, no, only the people that need to see, which is us, get to see. And then when I'm done with her, I can bring her out and then show her that. Any questions you want to ask or hopefully that answers your question, Ravini. Let's do a few more. Is there any particular shots that you're looking for?
Shot here that I
Yeah.
loved. this one. I loved what she did with her.
Okay, so a little more S curve, right? So this one. So prime example, right? The stylist says, this is the type of shot that I want. I'm trying to sort of tell her, and I'm doing this weird dance for some reason, but now I can just actually show her what you meant, right? So yeah, so just break the hip and just give me a little bit more curve and stuff. Do some hood down, then hood up, right? And just sort of play with that in that sense. All right. The hood looks a little limp?
Like shots.
Yeah.
like-
Oh, you're good? Okay.
Yeah, just the hair.
Okay. So then let's just sass it up a little bit in that sense. Break the hip in that sense. You got it. All right. You ready? I'm gonna go a little full length and then I'll go tighter. Good. Good. Now we're going tight. Yeah. Break the hip. Good, good, good. Good. Where's that sauce? Where's that sauce, Valiska? She knows the sauce. There you go. Yeah, let the hang. Yeah. Ooh, that's good. Good, good, good. Yeah, just give me a few more. Beautiful. Good. And then bring some arm up. There you go. Ooh, I love that. Hold up there. That's pretty. Let's get that height there going. Good. Straighten that spine. That's beautiful. Love, 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 love. Good. Eyes at me. Good. Where's that attitude? A little more sauce. There you go. I always say sauce. I don't know why I do, but you end up developing words and lingos and things. And, like I end up doing this and she knows I'm me moving the hair back. I saw a question that just popped up. I don't know what it was. Sorry if I missed it. Somebody.
Giancarlo, I got it. It was a question.
You got it?
about
Okay, no
Ergo.
worries.
Yeah.
No
Ergo on the
worries.
Model 4270 machine.
Yeah, I think the ergo arm is only for the 32-inch, right?
Correct, only for the 32-inch and the 27-inch.
Oh, and 27-inch. Okay. It's an awesome arm. Like, and I say this, I mean, not just because it's BenQ, but the fact that like it's solid metal and it's a sturdy arm, right? And I say that because we've all had VESA mounts that we've had on our computers and stuff, especially during COVID. And I'm sorry, but they're all junk. They really are. Yeah, let's do some ground. Why not? Or actually not sitting, just sort of squatting, putting a knee down. Think sort of 90s hip hop vibe, MTV. Like I'm saying what year were you born? You weren't even born in the 90s, were you? 2003 she was born. She doesn't even know the 90s. The 90s were good days, okay? All right, let's do some little groundwork, little attitude-y, little sauce. There you go. Love, 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 love. Good, good, good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, drop one knee like that. Beautiful. Love, love, love. Do some facing this way. And oh yeah, watch the good, good, good. Like that. Good. Train that spine a little. There you go. Okay, you're good there. All right. I think that was good. And we have another question. The main image doesn't match what's being shot. It's the arm up image. Oh, my apologies. It's because we were stuck in this thing. Hold on 1 second. There we go. That's what I was trying to show. Sorry about that, folks. Gotta love technology. There you go. So yeah, so this is what we were sort of shooting. We go tighter. Yeah, there we go. And higher. There you go. So this is her on the ground. So in this case, the colors and everything work really, really well. Even the background, everything works beautifully with the background. So again, the whole focus or the whole point, and this is what a lot of people sort of forget is, and keep in mind, this is sort of a quick live demo we're doing for a half hour, right? But people sort of forget that you only ultimately need, let's say, 1 or 2 or 3 shots to get the job done for whatever it is, whether it be an editorial per look, right? So in this case, how many shots did we take? 212 shots. All right, it's crazy. 212 shots in 3 looks, right? Not bad. Now keep in mind, I'm obviously overshooting. I'm giving examples and everything else, but a lot of people put sort of thoughts or too much pressure on it. And part of it to me is shoot as much as you like, do it in sort of batches of 10 or 20 frames, but then in turn, address something, whether it be the makeup or the hair or the styling, and stop as you go, right? At the end of the day, you sort of refine until you get to sort of what you want, right? So we started from one thing to the other thing. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add or contribute or your take.
Oh,
Like what are you looking for, even in terms of workflow and in terms of even like a monitor and stuff like what benefits you, right? What do you?
I love the monitor like that. Just I can instantly, like, without any editing, I know it's the perfect shot and I know when we can move on. So for me, it's really important to be efficient on a shoot.
Right.
And I also, for my brand, I do a lot of my own photography.
Right.
So knowing when to stop and to move on to the next look is so
Is key.
important.
Absolutely.
And for the model's time, all of our time. So that's what is like pays
Yeah.
for itself.
Absolutely.
When you're able to see it instantly and I'm done. 'Cause
Yeah.
It is truly 1 or 2 shots. And it's horrible. So you take like hundreds of shots and you
It's
pick
true.
one.
When you pick one, right?
Silly. You need to learn to edit yourself as a photographer and to know when to stop. So that
Absolutely.
helps.
So there you go. So prime example, from a styling brand point of view, it's knowing sort of when you have the one shot that you need, right? And then having a monitor that you can actually then see in real time makes it way better, right? A lot better, right? Like I said, we always tend to either unfortunately, people tend to rely on this tiny little screen, which everything looks great. Don't rely on this, please. Like literally don't rely on the screen here. And then the next best option is obviously you start going to actual computer monitor or a laptop, if you will, and then an actual display. But it's worth it, especially if you have sort of the means in terms of not just financial, but in terms of like the space, right? Because like someone mentioned, do I bring monitors on location? I want to, but that's just another thing to worry about, right? In terms of wind coming or a crazy raccoon, knocking a stand down or something, right? I mean, is it Murphy's Law, right? If it's bound to happen, it's going to happen type of thing. But yeah, your input, Martin, as assistant in looking at things and being digital tech, what do you like? What do you dislike?
It's nice and large. You can see any little things like wrinkles, if the hood's like folded a little funny.
Right.
There's like an eyelash on the white pants or something.
True. So yeah, so resolution, be able to see things, I guess, in real time is key. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Brooke. Here, come. Be in front of the camera. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
It helps me just like see the little mistakes before it's too late, and then you have to fix it in Photoshop.
Right. Yeah. Which is not good to fix in Photoshop.
No.
But it's good though, right? Because then in turn, you can also do, for example, shot selection, right? So here's a prime example. Let's go back to the vertical shots just because. Okay, so for example, Felicia, come offset. So prime example, we're here, for example, with the team, right? Assuming there's a live shoot, we have a client. And now I can be like, instead of me sending her a PDF and contact sheets and back and forth and like, a month goes by. Now we can be like, okay, do you like the shot? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay, damn, I was hoping she'd say yes. Okay,
Oh,
next shot.
yes.
Okay, do you like the shot? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, she's lying. She's saying yes. But prime example, right? But I get constant, immediate feedback, right? So now, for example, if she says, okay, I like yes, no, we've culled it down. We've done that culling process. There's no time wasting or anything. We've started, we've marked it. Now we know, okay, cool. Time is money, as you mentioned, right? So now we know, okay, the shoot's done. We got the shots we needed. She selected it. Now it's to the next phase, which is just editing and get it done, right? So all the steps are sort of done, taken care of. I hope you like the shots. Come on, it's terrible. There goes my ego. I'm kidding. Okay, so one more question. Thank you so much for such informative experience. GC got a shoot. Oh, have a good one, Zena. Much love to you, Zena. I was just in BC, Vancouver. Go figure. Awesome. Well, if anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask. I'll open it up entirely to you guys. I will kill this. I'll stop sharing that screen. There we go. All right, so I'll stop sharing that screen. And you guys should be able to see me. Okay, good. Awesome. All right, so yeah, Q&A, by all means, feel free to ask. We are all here. We have Brooke, we have Milena. I like that name. It's a good name. We got Felicia, we got Martin, and then we have Martin as well. If you have any questions about anyone individually, by all means, feel free to ask. This is your time to ask, of course, in terms of workflow or how to get things going. But other than that, thank you, everyone, and thank you all for making it. I appreciate it. Everyone gets a pizza party. No, but seriously, thank you all. And again, this is the key: is working collaboratively with everyone really gets the end result done, right? I mean, I sure as hell could have done this without myself, without everyone's help. Like I said, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not a stylist. I'm certainly not a model. Almost as tall as she is, but I'm not a model. So having everyone here and their input makes a difference. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is sort of a mock shoot, but this is sort of a real scenario mock shoot. By all means, use them, right? But these are the keys, right? This is a mock shoot to give you guys an idea, an insider look as to how it goes and how the process is. But part of it is communicating, talking to your team, relying on them, right? There's things that I will not see, nor do I care to see, right? But you know, if I'm shooting your brand, to me, this might not be this type of blue. It might be different because I'm colorblind. I'm not colorblind, but I'm just saying. But having someone here and say, okay, this is what I like, or this is what I prefer. All those little things make a difference in the end. So I think we have one final question. Lauren Jones, thank you. That was awesome. Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, if you have any questions, the floor is open. Other than that, the live demo is done. Always high five your models. And I always recommend always playing music during shoots. We didn't today for obvious reasons because I'm mic'd up. But music makes everything better across the board. It just sets a tone, it sets a vibe, right? And I always joke around that as a photographer, you are sort of the director. So you sort of set the tone and then things trickle down, right? If you're in a grumpy mood, go home. It's not worth it, right? So that's my take. I don't know.
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, ask.
Well, first we'll start the comment. A big thank you to everybody, the entire team. We've never had a webinar where this many people partake, and you can really see the synergy and just the team effort here. Phenomenal work. And then my question for you guys is, can we get another webinar? This was awesome stuff.
You'll get another webinar. We'll see. We'll think about it. But yes, yeah. No worries. And that's the key, right? I mean, it's I want to sort of showcase in real type scenario as to what it's like working with different people, right? And we all have different walks of life, different experiences. You know, prime example, like I just met Milena today. You know what I mean? Like prime example. We have been Instagram friends for 2 years. But this is a prime example, right? And I said, listen, this is what's happening. I'm doing a webinar. Would you want to bring some pieces? And she's like, yeah, why not? Right? It's a new thing, new network. Everyone gets along. We get some good images at the end of it. I mean, it's nothing bad that could happen here. You know what I mean? So, and Felicia, you know, makes it look good. So, but yeah.
You did a great job.
Yeah, you're good, Felicia. You got it. Any questions? Thanks so much, everyone. Another one like this will be fantastic. Very practical and interesting. Well, I'm glad. Thank you, Ravini. Thank you for your feedback. Hopefully you learned something and you have some takeaways from this. Time flew and it was both informative and entertaining. Well, I'm glad. Thank you, Martin. Wow, third Martin. Yeah, 2 Martins, and that's the third Martin. But yes, by all means, folks, please do follow them. I'm gonna share my screen, my last screen up if I can. Hopefully. I will share the screen because I do want you guys to follow everybody. They are absolutely phenomenal. They've obviously worked their butts off to get this going. So I think it's only worth it if I share the screen. Can I not share the screen? Ali, did you restrict me already?
No, you should be able to.
Damn it. Come on, Zoom. Share screen. How can I not share screen? Huh? Hold on, but I thought wasn't it down here? Hold on. You know what? Hold on. I think it's because there you go. That's why. Haha. Haha. Got it. Yeah, it's been too many Zoom calls. There we go. So share that screen. So you guys should be able to see that. Do you see that? Maybe not. There you go. Share screen. There you go.
Yes, no, we got it.
There, now you see it. Okay, awesome, folks. So yes, feel free to follow the whole team. And once again, thank you for everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But again, I will sign off. I'm Giancarlo Pawelec Photo. We have Martin over there. Come in, Martin. Don't be shy. He's a shy one. The Martin Tam. Brooke, by all means, what can they follow you on Instagram? Bellavo. Milena, for Denor, follow them, folks. And if you're in Toronto or in Oshawa, check them out. They have awesome stuff. Felicia, what's your socials?
And my Instagram, follow me, is at Feliska_model.
Pretty easy, Felicia_model. And then Martin,
It's at Backdrops Gallery or backdropsgallery.com for any kind of needs with a set, or if you're looking for a very good backdrop. We're a Canadian company, locally made, and everything is done by hand.
there you go. And we're all Canadian. So this is a shout out to all our American friends and everything else. But yes, so true Canadian crew. So thank you again. I don't think there's any more questions, Ali. I think we're good for questions. Yes, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the last of the questions, but yeah, a big thank you from BenQ, and this was awesome.
No worries. Oh, how about an applause for all? Kelly, I agree, Kelly Papadakis. Applause for all. Good job. Well, thank you again, and thank you, BenQ and Ali and everyone. And this is phenomenal. Please follow the team. They are also very, very talented. And hopefully, if you bug them enough on Instagram, we'll do another webinar again, maybe with a different subject matter. We'll see. Who knows? But fashion is always fun. So have fun. Keep shooting. Much love. And we're good.
Thank you,
See you
everyone.
guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.